Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our LinkedIn Live session on decoding sustainability, integrating sustainability into everyday life. Before we get into context setting and other stuff, I would like to introduce our organization, Center for Responsible Business. We're a think tank and we work on integrating sustainability into core business practices. Though we work majorly with businesses, we feel that it's important to look at consumption aspect as well. Sustainable consumption has now become a critical element for encouraging sustainable business practices. Our overall aim is to make sustainability achievable and manageable. Also, CRB, along with the Youth for Sustainability India Alliance, are partnering for this LinkedIn Live session under the aegis of the Harit Prem Bharat Mahotsav of the Premji Memorial Trust, PJMT. And sustainability, a little context setting, sustainability as defined by the United Nations Brundtland Commission is meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability for future generations to meet our own needs. Today, there are almost 140 developing countries in the world seeking ways of meeting their development needs. But with the increasing threat of climate change, concrete efforts must be made to ensure development today does not negatively affect the future generations. Keeping in view the impacts our actions have on climate change, health, pollution, sustainable living has become a necessity. The question, however, remains as to how sustainability can actually be achieved in today's time and what role does each individual play in attaining sustainability. Our speakers today for the LinkedIn Live session are practitioners, sustainability practitioners, who have been working on making sustainability manageable and achievable through their efforts. Our first speaker, Violeta Seth, is the founding and steering committee member of the Youth for India Sustainability Alliance. She is also the practitioner and promoter of healthy, mindful, and sustainable living. Our second speaker, Ritika Verma, is a postgraduate in fashion and English, certified neuro-linguistic programming practitioner. She's the co-founder of Riha Thrips and a Young India Challenge alumni. She's also a mental health and body positive advocate. Our third and the last speaker, Stuti Mishra, is a social work practitioner. She works into NGOs programming, implementation, and management, and she's been taking steps towards sustainable living. Thank you, ladies, for being part of the LinkedIn Live session. My first question, and now that we're getting into the question stream, is for Violeta. Violeta, you are the founder and steering committee member of the Alliance for Youth. Could you tell us what is the Youth for Sustainability India Alliance? What was your motivation in forming the Alliance? And what impacts you're hoping to achieve through this Alliance?
Thank you, Bhavya. Thank you for the invitation. So what is Youth for Sustainability India Alliance? It's basically a platform where we bring together two sides. On one side, there are organizations which are already working in sustainability, especially working in sustainable production and consumption, and also on climate action. And on the other hand, youth who feels the need of immediate action on these topics. So we bring them together to that platform, and why we did that, it's because we find it very important to include youth in the conversation and work towards a sustainable future. The mindset and the approach that was developed over the last 100 years and told to us by our grandfathers, teachers, parents, everyone, assumes that in order to have a happy, healthy life, we need to focus on our materialistic wealth. Because once we have materialistic wealth, then we can afford different things. It's going to be more secure. We can even buy our health by going to a better doctors and hospitals. But this kind of approach, when we are consuming more and more and gathering more and more, has a kind of a background, a kind of a mindset that it's assuming that there are resources which are unfinished, unlimited, and they are always going to be there. And those are resources which are so important for our survival, like clean water, fresh air, and soil. So that's why the mindset needs to change, and there is a need for breaking that pattern. Why young people? It's because young people with open mind, with a fresh view, they understand this conversation very, very easily. And this is why, alongside of working on policy changes, on new technology, on managing the existing companies and adapting new sustainable practices, which usually those positions are occupied by adults, let's say, or elder generations. There is a need to involve youth also to create a kind of a mindset of what the sustainability is, of how the future generations will understand the sustainability. So does it mean that we need to change the technology or inventing something new? Like, for instance, with the bulbs, we changed it for LED and so on and so forth. But maybe it's something else. Maybe it's by adopting some completely new way of thinking about how we live and how we consume. Maybe by buying less, simply like changing that mindset of that we need to have and consume more and more, or maybe buying more secondhand, or maybe sharing goods, or maybe there are other ways where now the circular economy is also something which a lot of people are thinking about. And for building a sustainable future, we need to involve those who are going to be responsible for sustaining those changes in the future. It's as simple as that. And that's why Alliance brings to the table more young people in order to start that conversation, that dialogue, and in order to make that more sustainable transition even smoother. And this can happen in different ways. Just like I said, a lot of young people already want to act, but they are not sure how. So there are different ways. It could be that it could be possible. It could be through different clubs or groups which are gathering at the universities or in their institutions. Or then they can gather together and act on some local solutions. It could be by implementing some changes in our own daily life. It also matters a lot. We think that this doesn't matter, but every single small act matters. It could be by starting some occupational courses, which will allow more of the young people to join the forces of so-called green jobs market that is developing very fast as well. Maybe some would like to start their own projects or businesses into sustainability. So workshops, internships, whatever it is to challenge and train the young mind to become a new kind of leadership for the future.
Thank you. I like the point where you said that it's important to involve the youth or the section which actually can make the change. And we have two practitioners with us who have been making the change in their own way. So I would like to ask Ritika about her thrift store. What was the objective? What got you started? And who are your target audience, like target consumer? And what is the impact you have made already and you wish to achieve in the coming future?
Thank you for the invitation, Bhavya. And, I'm going to start with saying that my journey for sustainability started with my love for environment, and that led me to YIC. And after that, when I came out of YIC, I just thought like we need to do something about the environment. And with that thought, I was like, I need to put my fashion design degree to some use without harming the environment. And that's why I started Riha Thrifts. It's a thrift store. And the motive behind was that, 85% of our clothes, they land up in the landfills or they are burned down, So it's like a waste. They end up in the landfill, and there are like 100 billion of garments produced every year. So 92 million tons of waste, they end up in the landfill and they pollute our environment. So the objective was like all the second, everyone deserves a second chance, right? So these clothes, they do not need landfill, they need love. So my objective was like very clear that we need to cater all the youngsters and their, needs with those secondhand and loved garments, which can be pre-loved, or which can be upcycled, something like that. And I started Riha Thrips with my sister. She's the co-founder of Riha Thrips. Our love for clothes was the motive to start Riha Thrips. And our targeted customers, they're like youngsters who are into fast fashion, and they're actively into fast fashion, and the fast fashion companies, they're making profits out of it, right? All the companies, so these youngsters, we want to cater them, and we want to give them the fashion clothes which are trendy yet sustainable, right? And these clothes might be pre-used, these clothes might be the surplus stock from the export or the import, right? But these are some trendy clothes, and these can be vintage clothes, and these might add some charm in your wardrobe. So this was my motive behind starting the Riha Thrift, my thrift store. And yeah, that's all.
Thank you. Suti, it's been intriguing to know that how individuals have been making sustainable choices. Often it felt that it's difficult to adopt sustainable measures. Could you tell us about your sustainability journey and what and how have you opted for more sustainable measures in your life?
Yeah. So, like sustainability or living in a sustainable way is not a new concept. Remember how our grannies and grandmother used to take care of us. She used to preserve, she used to reuse the things in our family. They also used to think about that, not to like spend so much, and all those like daily things that they used to do, and then they used to like transfer that into generations as well. But as the millennium came, industrialization, like people came into fast world, they are more into like exploring new things, trying new brands, and like trying everything. And also there is their main thing is the peer pressure, like to fit into the system, into the society, into your peer groups. Uh, I think in that between, we all forgot that how to be sustainable again. But again, when you go back to your roots, you will find that whatever we used to taught in our like by our grandmothers, my mother, like my mother used to like use all the personal care products made at home. Like she never gave me any sort of cream, the lemon and everything. So from there, I think from there I connected again with my roots, and from 2012 I started practicing and thinking twice again before even doing any sort of action. I used to think that is this step is harming the environment, or whether or should I think of using for a national rational utilization of the resources. So from there I started. Firstly, I stopped impulsive buying. Like we don't have a habit of fixing things rather than buying new things. No, so I started fixing up things. Um, I started using water bottles because, as it said, you can carry power bank, but you won't carry a water bottle. So, like bits and pieces. From 3 years, I'm using menstrual cup. Initially, again, I was very a bit. I was using sanitary pads, but now I'm using menstrual cup, and again, it's a very eco-friendly way. So I think it's just a thought when you in your daily life since morning when you start by using brush, that's also plastic. Comb, that's also plastic. Maybe you can replace things, and then you can do that. Even in my marriage also, I tried to like do my marriage in a more simplest way. I invited very less people, no exchange of like gifts, no jewelry purchase, reuse of my mother's clothes. My husband used his father's clothes. So like that you can do, and I think it's a doable thing. It's just you have to think before taking any step or buying anything. Just look around and accept that we need to save this world. So yeah.
Thank you. While we've spoken about the impacts and the changes that all three of you have made in your sector through your activities, there might have been and I'm assuming there might have been challenges that all three of you faced. So my question to Violetta is, could you tell us what are some of the challenges that you're facing as far as the work of the Alliance is concerned? And what sort of support could help in strengthening the activities of the Alliance? And also, what, according to you, would be one call for action for the people who are here listening to this session?
Well, so one of the challenges that we are facing within the Alliance is like maybe typical for organizations, the capacity of the Secretariat. We wished to be able to engage members and youth even better. Apart from the Secretariat, each one of us are running our own organizations or projects. So it's like a split. So therefore, I think that would be the biggest challenge. But also last year's, we had some challenging times with reorganizing and setting clubs in the universities. So now there are youth for sustainability clubs in more than 10 cities. Something maybe call to action for anyone who is listening is that if you are still not sure how to go about sustainability, but you want to do something, try to find a club or a group of people to surround yourself with those who have already that kind of a mindset. It will be much easier to start the journey and to start doing something about it. And if you are listening and you work already for an organization, try to see and look how your organization could implement some of the ways to involve youth in the processes that you are already doing, whether you have courses, whether you have some great know-how and you want to teach others, involve in internships or any other way. So there are a lot of opportunities here, and for all of them, I would encourage to visit our website, Youth for Sustainability, YFS. The website is YFS, indiaalliance.com, to join hands.
Thank you. Next thing that I want to ask Ritika is, again, what have been your challenges in setting up the store, and how can you scale up the effort? How can you create more acceptance of a thrift store model? Because we hear it, but it's not that prominent right now, at least in our country. So how can you create more awareness about the model? Ritika, you're on mute.
You're right, Bhavya. It's a very foreign concept, and we see a lot of thrift stores outside of India. And, there was a web series that I saw, and that inspired me to start this thrift store. And, the biggest challenge is the information that we need to have. Like, do you know, like, fashion is one of the top 5 industries which are carbon intensive industries. So that's a very shocking thing for me, that I did not know it like 2 years ago. And the basic challenge that I have is the mindset. Like, people do not want to buy used clothes or pre-loved clothes, as we say. They're like, it might be old, it might be dirty, and it's not hygienic and stuff like that. So the traditional mindset is like, they don't want to buy old clothes, and they want to buy all those fast fashion clothes, the brands that are endorsing more fashionable ways to showcase their products. So youngsters, they want to buy that instead of buying vintage clothes or upcycled clothes, which can be designed in new ways, right? And that was the challenge in this model, in this thrift store. So my sister and I started making reels which would grab the attention of the youth and people who would like to buy things. So that was our main strategy. Like, we need to get involved in the active advertising of these clothes and the store and the concept of thrift, like thrifting your clothes. So we wanted to make it trendy, and we wanted to make it cool for all those youngsters. So from the age of 16 to 25 is our target customers, target audience on the Instagram. And if you would like to find us on Instagram, then our ID is Riha Thrifts with double S. So if you would like to see what all we are selling and what all knowledge we want to share about thrift store, so that's it.
Thank you, Ritika. And Stuti, you have already taken the sustainability route, you said, from 2012. What has been your challenges over the years, and how do you think the message can be carried forward and made a more common practice amongst everyone, not just you, but everyone?
Um, I think the idea of sustainability, I think first you need to understand that it's going to be a very long journey. You have to change your perspective, change your thought process first, and because this concept sometimes doesn't fit into the society. So when you meet those people who are like more into buying, more into fashionable way of living life, there is the issue which comes, I think. But I think you just have to be constant. You show with your gesture. Like now I have started like giving plants to people. I use pen, like recycle paper pen. So in these way of doing things, the like recycle paper diary, you started gifting your friends. So it's like for them it's like a new thing. But when gradually they will come up about the thought that okay, this is something which is also contributing in saving our environment, I think that's how you are going to change the thought process of the people. And it's not a tough thing. You can do this. So like it's yet challenging. Sometimes when I'm on field, it becomes very difficult to find like water. So like I have to buy plastic bottle, but I make sure that I get that plastic and like leave it into the like recycle bin. There are so many recycle booths are there in Delhi. So yeah, just be thoughtful, and everyone can do it.
Thank you. Thank you, Ritika, Violeta, and Stuti. This has been very inspiring. And I hope that our listeners can also talk about managing sustainability and achieving it within their circle. And so do we. And thank you again. Thank you very much for being part of the LinkedIn Live. And thank you to the audience as well.
Thank you so much, Bhavya.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.